if I get the right sound, then I would love to be able to take that out on the road. It'd be something new for me to use, and obviously promoting the amp, because I think everybody's going to be really excited. And once they hear me playing it, then they'll know that it actually is real. I mean, on the website, they're going to hear it. When it finally gets to that point, they'll be able to hear it. But I think actually hearing me in person, and sort of, especially if I do a couple of gun songs, I like sounds. So I think it's sort of exciting all around. It'd be great to have it up there. Hint, hint. On that, I used a JCM 800, which I'm pretty sure was part of my arsenal that goes back to 1987, 1988. I really don't have a lot of amps. I have a lot of guitars, but I don't have a lot of amps. And the only memory I have of having a handful of nondescript JCM 800s was back in the 80s, right before I got the Jubilees. I've got the Gibson in the other room.
Have you?
Yeah.
How's that going?
You want to go get it? You want to see it? And what I've been doing for a while now is supplementing, like my guitar setup for touring and stuff with all new guitars, and putting my old ones and leaving them for using in the studio and stuff like that. So I've got all these different Slash models, and if I break one, I can get another one.
So is this, when's this going to be available for the...
This is the USA model. There's a custom shop model coming out as well, which I haven't seen it yet, but they both come out April 1st. And then the Epiphone, which is, just a little bit lower on the price scale, comes out August 1st.
Okay, and are the high-end ones, are they limited, or...?
Yeah, there's a certain amount. Yeah. I forgot what the number is, but yeah, it is limited.
So people better get it quick.
I mean, well, the highs were, of course, sort of beating all the odds and succeeding on our own terms, because Guns N' Roses was definitely a band that wasn't conforming to any of the industry standards or, following anybody else's rules for that matter. So that was definitely a high point. And then, the roller coaster of being in a rock and roll band, sort of, you don't have to really explain it all, it's, you have your ups and downs, but it was a great sort of rise from having a record come out that nobody really paid much attention to. Then suddenly 2 years later, it became this really huge album. We went from being an opening band to a stadium band over a period of 3 years, based on one record. And then, and so we went on and did that. And then, of course, there was the lows, which is when it finally came to a point where I saw fit to leave the band, and that was basically it. But in the over 10 years that I was in the band, it was a great experience. It makes you feel, it's a huge honor to be put in that position, because I'm more of a fan than, I'm a musician, obviously, but I'm more of a fan than anything, and I really remember what influenced me and why I did certain things and who I thought was important and how much I looked up to a lot of people. And to actually come full circle and be in that sort of position at this point is, flattering and very sort of satisfying kind of feeling. I was really fortunate to have Velvet Revolver actually, do as well as it did and be able to put together a couple cool records. And they're still a band, and we're going to go back and get another singer and make a proper hard rock record. Because there's something about those two records that, as cool as they were, sort of, I never felt 100% satisfied with the recordings that we did. So I'm sort of chomping at the bit to get this third record done and all that. But in the meantime, I've got this solo record, which I think is really a great rock and roll record, and I think people are going to dig it, and it's coming out in a minute, so I'm pretty excited about that. We started in May of last year, and we had 75% of it done in July. And then the tail end, the thing that took the longest after that was getting the releases for all the singers from the record companies, all the red tape that went on. That was pretty hard. I'm just glad I did that at the tail end, as opposed to doing it when we actually went to go work on the material.
Right.
When you just have a couple of musicians in a room together, it's really easy to create something. But as soon as you tack on the sort of paperwork, it changes the whole dynamic. Everybody who I got to sing was inspired by the actual material. You know what I'm saying? So I'd listen to the song and go, who would sound really good doing this? And who would sound good on this song? And pretty much everybody that I wanted to get, I got. There was a couple names floating around that I didn't necessarily. There's a lot of great singers. And I thought, well, what about so-and-so? I thought, no, he's not going to want to do it, or it's going to be too busy. There were certain people I didn't really approach. And there was one person that I tried to get that I had a contractual sort of situation where I couldn't have released the song if I did it. So, but these are really small situations. It wasn't really a big deal. I would imagine so. I feel very confident that Santiago's going to find this mysterious fucking tone, and then it's going to be really exciting, because that is a really great sound. It's funny when you make a record, a particular amp, as far as like. You find an amp that sounds good in the studio that session. And then when you move on, you might use the same type of amp, but not the exact same amp. Guitars are a little different. You stick with one guitar, but amps are interchangeable. And that particular amp had such a great sound, and I did obviously want to keep it, but when I didn't get it, I sort of got over it. But listening to it, it just has this really great, unique thing about it, and it'd be nice to be able to have that access to that whenever I felt like it. We're working in a vacuum where we've got an idea of something, and we have some footprints. But it's not like we don't have a tangible amp to sort of compare it to. With this thing, I've had that original guitar ever since 1987, and I use it in every session. And so, they came down to the studio, Gibson came down to the studio, and we put it up, and they use these little tools to measure every exact detail and spec of the guitar, and then take millions of pictures of it, and go back to Nashville and do their magic. But in this situation, we just have to go on memory and the recorded sound.
And then when we get the final one, you'll know if it's right.
Oh, definitely will. Yeah. So I'm waiting. I'll be excited to get that phone call saying you got to come down and check it out. We think we've got it.
Yeah. I think when we get the first one, we have to get the camera over to you and film you playing it and see what you think. That'd be cool. Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much, Slash.
No, thank you, man.